Okay, good afternoon, my dear future chartered accountants, for one last time. So almost towards the end from my side, but from your side, I don't know how many times you have to come till here. But long time back we started, not too long time back, but the content what we covered is quite heavy. Just like that, this last day came suddenly. Your examination also will come suddenly. It will not be next year, it will be next year. So try to prepare at your best speed. Let's go for what is remaining. Ind AS 116. So we discussed in the previous session sale and lease back. Just to have a quick recap, and then we'll do a problem. Sale and lease back, as the name suggests, one person sells and takes it back on lease. So his position is seller as well as lessee, and other person is position of buyer as well as lessor. In general, we account for everything normal, sale transaction separately and lease transaction separately. But when this sale happens, if it is a transfer, that is when there is a sale, the carrying amount should be proportionate amount, because to that extent actually sale did not take place. And you account for lease separately and for sale separately as per Ind AS 115. Those things will continue. And if it is not a transfer, it is not a sale, then treatment is very simple. You only treat it as loan receivable for one person and loan payable for one person. Asset is not recognized, asset is not derecognized. And one adjustment is required for off-market items, only relate when transfer is a sale. If it is a lower value items, we treat the difference as lease prepayment, and if it is higher value items, we treat it as additional financing received. And this will apply only in case of transfer of or a sale, because if it is not a sale, there is no question of recognizing any sale. Additional amount do not arise, because anyway you would have accounted it as loan received and loan payable. So in that context, let us do a problem 39. An entity, seller, lessee, sells a building to another entity, buyer, lessor, for cash of rupees 30 lakhs. Immediately before the transaction, the building is carried at a cost of 15 lakhs. That is, sale transaction is 30 lakhs. And immediately before the transaction, it is carried at 15 lakhs. So sale consideration is 15, carrying amount is sale consideration is 30, carrying amount is 15 lakhs. At the same time, seller, lessee enters into contract with buyer, lessor, for right to use the building for 20 years with the annual payment of 2 lakh payable at the end of each year. The terms and conditions of the transactions are such that transfer of building by seller lessee satisfies the requirement for determining performance obligations satisfied in Ind AS 115, revenue from contract with customer. They have to give you this, because if it was other situation, then we are not going to account except for the amount of sale consideration, because 30 lakhs, one person treat it at borrowing made, cash account to borrowing. Other person will make it as loan given, loan account to cash account. So that would be very simplest approach. So obviously they will not ask question based on that. The fair value of the building on the date of sale is 27 lakh. And this is a situation where sale consideration is different from fair value. That is, there is an adjustment required for off-market items. Initial direct cost, if any, are to be ignored. The interest rate implicit is 12%, which is readily determined by seller lessee. Buyer lessor classifies the lease of the building as operating lease. Okay, they have given operating lease. How should the said transaction be accounted by the seller lessee and the buyer lessor? Again, if it was financing lease, then he will recognize it differently. That is only from the point of view of lessor. So when you're thinking from lessee point of view, what lesser transfer, what lesser classify is not a matter of consideration. He can classify it as operating or financing lease. That is his personal problem. Lesser classification will not have any impact on lessee because there is no question of operating financing for lessee books of accounts. Okay. First we'll account for the seller lessee, then we come to buyer lessor. So sale and lease back for seller hyphen lessee. So what are the things to be done? Let us just write it in a sentences, then we go for the amounts. Transfer of control under Ind AS 115 is satisfied. Therefore, you will recognize sale or revenue, and therefore lease back will be accounted as per Ind AS 116 as lessee. And when you are accounting for lease as a lessee point of view, what are the things to be recognized? Lease liability at present value of lease payments like any other lessee, and you are going to account for ROU asset. But the ROU asset amount will not be just equal to lease payments, it will be at proportionate amount in carrying amount. That is, it's at proportionate amount in carrying amount. That is, you are not going to do it just present value basis. You take present value as the basis, but compared with carrying amount, we will have to do it on proportionate basis. That's what we are going to see, accounting part. And one extra thing is sale consideration is 30 lakhs and fair value is 27 lakhs. Since it is not equal, we have to go for the adjustment for off market items. So these are the synopsis in this problem for us to solve. Okay, so this is a case of below market or above market, or below fair value or above fair value. It is fair value is 27, sale consideration is 30 lakh. That means the amount what we consider is sale consideration is on higher items. That is, sale value is more than fair value. So when it is on higher amounts, we are going to treat it as the amount received is higher. So amount received higher means to that extent we'll have to treat it as additional finance received. That is what we'll do now. So it is a case of higher value because sale is greater than fair value. The way you used to do, like in SFM, when fair value is less or when the market price is more, we say overpriced. Overpriced means we say sell kind of thing. That's what we are doing. It is sale value high. That means to that extent we treat it as additional amount received here. Okay, so sale consideration or difference amount. What is the excess amount? 3 lakh to be considered as additional financing. So in a way, the journal entry will be simple entry, bank account, to sales 27 lakh, to loan 3 lakh. 27 lakh is treated as revenue, 3 lakh is treated as additional loan received or loan received for that matter. Okay, now this is for sale consideration is given effect. Now we'll come to the lease accounting part. Lease accounting, first step is to go for lease liability. We recognize that present value of lease payment. So lease liability at inception, year, lease payments, discounting factor at the rate of, what is the incremental borrowing rate? 12% and discounted cash flow. How many years this lease? 20 years, huh? Okay, 20 years. And lease payments are 2 lakh. So compute the discounting factor for 20 years. Okay. How much you get? 7.46. Okay, let me take only 2 decimal here just for matching the institute answer so that we'll get the more round off numbers. So there is a rule of 3 decimals. We have been using it for our reference. I'm just trying to match the institute solution so that the number is more rounded off in nature. That's all. You can take 4 decimals also. That is no issues. And the best method about institute solution is they have given the number 14,94,000 directly. They have not given any calculation like this. Present value of 2 lakh comes to 14,94,000. That's all they have given. Or in the question you can say given annuity factor 7.47 for more clarity. Okay. This is the present value of lease payments. So now the question is, do we consider this 14,94,000 plus 3 lakh as our liability, or 14,94,000 includes 3 lakh as liability? That is, when you make the payment of 2 lakh lease payment, okay, or other way around, I'll ask very simple question. So if I prepare the opening balance at 14,94,000, at the end of 20 years, what will happen to this ledger? This will become 0. Plus interest minus 2 lakh, plus interest minus 2 lakh. But what will happen to that 3 lakh already received? That will never be closed then. So when you consider this 2 lakh amount lease payment, repayment, you should not only consider towards 14,94,000 but also towards the 3 lakh. In other words, we should recognize liability only 14,94,000, which includes the amount of 3 lakh. Because the payment of 2 lakh is towards 14,94,000, out of which 3 lakh you have already received. So that is how the recognition should happen. Therefore, what we have to do ideally is this 2 lakh lease payment should be divided among 14 lakh 94,000 liability, sorry, the 3 lakh liability and remaining lease payment liability. One liability is the financing received, other liability will be the lease liability. So let us write down sentence, then we compute the amount. So lease payments of 2 lakh is to be attributed to additional finance received and towards actual lease consideration. So basically we are telling divide 2 lakh in ratio of, sorry, divide 3 lakh amount, lease payment is 2 lakh, divide 2 lakh lease payment in the ratio of 3 lakh finance and lease payment of, what will be the amount? 11 lakh 94,000, because out of 14 lakh 94, 3 lakh is finance received. So 2 lakh into 3 lakh divided by 14 lakh 94,000. So how much you get? 40,161, no? Okay. So the 40,161 is towards loan repaid kind of thing. That additional financing what you have taken, that loan repaid is this. And balance, you can do the computation or we'll just say balancing figure. You can do like 2 lakh into 11 lakh 94,000 by 14 lakh 94,000. You can divide in that ratio or you can take balancing figure. What is the balancing figure amount comes to? 1 lakh 59 839 is towards lease payment, lease consideration. Ultimately total is 14 lakh 94,000. This is the lease liability to be recognized, is the liability to be recognized today, and total repayment is 2 lakh. But attributable towards part is different, because one portion is towards the financing received is repaid, other portion towards the lease liability repaid. Ultimately total liability is 14 lakh 94,000, which will become 0. The reason why this breakup is required, anyway liability is 14 lakh 94,000. Why the 3 lakh was important, or why this breakup is important? Because now when I go for asset side, for me to compute ROU asset, what should be the basis? 2 lakh repayment or 1,59,839 repayment? It should be 1,59,839, that is attributable, that is 11,94,000 is the basis for me to recognize the ROU asset. Okay, let us calculate the assets part. So what we have done is lease liability at inception and additional financing. Now let us go for ROU asset. Okay, ROU asset will not be just the present value of liability as we just written earlier, it should be a proportionate amount. So what is the carrying amount that you have? 15 lakh. This should be divided among two elements. This is the existing amount of the assets, carrying amount. This is divided among two elements because you are selling and getting it back something. That means first you are transferring full, then getting back some portion of control. So one portion is control and one portion is retained. That's what is ROU assets. So one portion which is controlled or transferred and one portion is not transferred. Or we'll say other portion, we'll just say retained. But we don't know the carrying amount, what percentage is transferred and what percentage is retained. We know only the percentage values in fair value terms, because fair value what is sold is 27 lakhs total amount. And how much fair value retained? If I go for the calculation related to this lease liability what we just understood, that is 11 lakh 94,000. So out of 27 lakh, 11 lakh 94,000 is the portion which is retained because it's coming back to you, and remaining amount is transferred. So what portion is transferred? Okay, let us do what portion is retained. 11 lakh 94,000 divided by 27 lakh. 27 lakh is the fair value and 11 lakh 94,000 is the fair value of the portion which is retained. This percentage you get. This you can multiply it by 15 lakh carrying amount. How much you get? 6 lakh 63 333. This portion what is retained is your ROU assets. What is retained, and what portion which is transferred becomes your gain. So what is the portion which is transferred? Remaining amount, or you can say balancing figure. What is the balancing amount? 8,36,667. This 8,36,667 is the book value of the asset which is sold. Control is transferred and not coming back to you also. It is sold. Therefore, on this amount you can recognize profit on sale. Profit on sale of the asset. Okay, this is the book value. And what is the fair value of the asset transferred if you want to really compute? Out of 27 lakh, 11 lakh 94,000 is coming back. So what will be the remaining fair value related to the asset sold? 27 lakh minus 11 lakh 94,000. 15 lakh 6,000. I think if I do that method also, I should get the same answer. Quickly do it. 15 lakh 6,000 divided by 27 lakh into 15 lakh. I'm just dividing in other proportion. It should be ultimately same number, 8,36,667. Or if I just summarize it in other way around as sale amount and carrying amount or we'll say fair value and carrying amount, whatever it is. Two portions are there. One portion which is transferred, one portion which is retained, and total, let me write it. Just a summary part. This is not required for exam. Just for your more clarity, this table should give you the logical explanation. What is the total carrying amount we had? 15 lakhs. And what is the carrying amount what we just computed now, which is transferred? 8,36,667 and retained 6,63,333, totally 15 lakh. Sale fair value, total amount 27 lakh, and related to the asset transferred fair value 15 lakh 6,000 and retained 11 lakh 94,000. We are just dividing it proportionately, the fair value of the asset sold and the carrying amount, just dividing it on proportionate basis. Therefore, what is your profit? The sale value minus carrying amount. 15 lakh 6,000 minus 8 lakh 36,667. 6 lakh 69 333. And what about 11 lakh 94,000 minus 6 lakh 63? 5 lakh 30,000 667 and total 12 lakh. So what is the important point is, how much of the profit do you think is recognized out of these three numbers? Six lakh 69,333 is the profit to be recognized immediately, because to that extent asset is sold, control is transferred, sale took place. But this 5,30,667 you cannot recognize it as a profit on sale, because to that extent asset is coming back to you. You are controlling the asset, therefore profit cannot be recognized. What should be recognized in your books of accounts is continue to show it at 6,63,333, the portion of the asset which is retained. And again, to an extent, this problem, on a similar problem, we had done it in financial instruments in case of derecognition, where there was one loan amount which contained so many components. One portion was sold, principal strip, interest strip, service assets. So we took it on columnar basis, carrying amount and fair value. All the amounts were given on fair value basis. Therefore, we took proportionately for carrying amount. The difference between the carrying amount and the fair value related to the loan transferred, we recognize the profits. But related to the retaining assets, proportionate carrying amount continued in the books of accounts. The same logic is being applied here. So 5,30,667 profit is not recognized. 6,67 profit is 6,69 profit is recognized. So we can say that this much profit is recognized and this profit is not recognized. Okay, let us pass the journal entry so that we get the complete picture ultimately what is happening. Journal entry. First of all, to start with the simplest, you have received money of 30 lakhs. So bank account debit 30 lakhs. What else asset is recognized? The ROU asset, which is 6 lakh 63 333. 2. Which is the asset which is sold? Sells a building. So 2 building. How much amount? Full carrying amount 15 lakh. 8 lakh 36 is transferred, but you have to know that 6 lakh 63 is also transferred, or you came back. So you can't say that only building 8 lakh 36. 8 lakh 6 lakh 63 is transferred and debit is going for ROU asset. Ultimately, building account should be closed. 2. Lease liability, which is 11 lakh 94,000, and 2 again liability, but it's borrowing, additional borrowing 3 lakh, ultimately 14 lakh 94,000, and 2 P&L account gain on sale What is the amount? We already recognized 6 lakh 69 330, sorry, 6 lakh 69 333, and see if the total amount is actually matching. Okay, so that is the accounting in the books of lessee, seller, lessee. Okay, now let us do accounting in the books of buyer or lessor. Okay, let us write the journal entry directly. That is much more easier for lessor. There is actually no much of calculation in the books of lessor. Journal entry in the books of lessor. He is purchasing the asset. So building account debits. What is the amount of purchase? 30 lakh or 27 lakhs? The fair value 27 lakhs. But he has received additional amount of 3 lakh, which is like a additional financing given. So it's like a loan given. It's a finance asset, but it is like lent, amount lent. It's like loan given. 3 lakh. And 2. Bank amount paid 30 lakh. Okay, this is all as on date, no change, but we'll still give one more information. Over a period of 20 years, lessor will receive how much amount? 2 lakh per annum. How do you consider this 2 lakh amount? Lessor is treating it as operating lease. So operating lease means this amount should be taken to P&L account. But out of 2 lakh, one portion is related to this financial asset recovery, loan given and repayment, is installment back, and how much amount that will be. Therefore, attributable to loan recovered back, we have calculated, assume the same rate of interest is applicable. Amount is already calculated. What is the additional financing required portion we have computed? 40,161. That amount can be different here, subject to the rate of interest for the lessor, but we don't have any other rate of interest, we'll take the same number. So 40,161 is attributable to loan recovered back and operating lease income balance amount. That was also computed, I think. One lakh 59,831. 839. 1,59,839. Okay. And again remember that 40,161 will have two elements because it's a loan recovered back. So in 40,161 interest element should be there. So you have to consider it as, just for reference we'll write down, this will have interest income as well as principal portion related to 3 lakh. So basically 3 lakh plus 12% minus 40,161 plus 12% minus 40,161. Like that it will run for 20 years. If it was financing lease, he would not have recognized the building account. He would have recognized net investment in lease if it was financing lease. But it is not financing lease because amount is actually not adding up to the total fair value of the asset. Therefore, even otherwise it cannot classify it as financing lease here. Okay, so this is a problem on sale and lease back. Let's go further. Transition approach. Since you are moving from Ind AS 17 to Ind AS 116, so many changes are there. How those changes are to be accounted? First, they give you the practical expedient that if it is not a lease under Ind AS 17, you need not continue it as lease under Ind AS 116 because definition of the leases are actually different, even though more or less same, but not necessarily. So, what will you do if Ind AS 17 it was not a lease, Ind AS 116 it's a lease? You can account for it. Nobody stops you from accounting and nobody stops you from following rules. But practically speaking, it might be difficult because there are so many leases which are already existing and it's very difficult to look for all the leases whether they will satisfy as per Ind AS 116 or not. So they have given an easy approach. If you're not classified under Ind AS 17, don't worry, don't re-look at reclassification. Apply only for new leases. And existing lease will tell you what to do. But you don't have to worry about the leases which has already happened but not accounted as per Ind AS 17. You need not account as per Ind AS 116 also. That is a benefit given. And it should be applied to all leases, not lease by lease basis, not class by class basis. If you adopt this practical expedient approach, You should adopt for all the leases. You can't say that, okay, this 5 lease, I know that it will classify as per Ind AS 116, I'll take it, I'll bring it in. And other 5 lease, I can't do it. That differentiation is not accepted. Either you bring everything as per Ind AS 116, or whatever Ind AS 17 is there, just continue in Ind AS 116. Only 2 alternatives are there. You can't do a combination approach. Okay, now for lesser, the best part about the lesser is the standard does not suggest any changes. So for finance lease, you continue it as financing lease. If for operating lease, continuous operating lease. Because even accounting wise, lesser, there was no change. The methodology what we did is same as what was done earlier. So going forward, you apply prospectively, no retrospective change, and from the new lease, you apply whatever Ind AS 116. So whatever amount already recognized in the balance sheet, nothing will be changed in the books of lesser. Only exception is sublease, that will take it later. But for lessee, the accounting, there is a fundamental change, because if it was operating lease, they were not recognizing any liability. As and when the amount is paid, that was taken out as expense. Now that is a change. Therefore, they have given 2 alternatives. Full retrospective approach. Full retrospective approach means from the inception of the lease, had you accounted under Ind AS 116, what would have happened? Keep on, change everything and show it in our regular books of accounts and apply Ind AS 8. That means you are going to account it like a change in accounting policy, Ind AS 8 or Ind AS 1. When you change accounting policy, you have to give retrospective effect. And when you do that, how many years balance sheet you have to prepare? 3 years. That's all required in full retrospective approach. Current year, corresponding previous year, and opening balance of previous year, and any other amount you can take it in the opening balance. So basically, it is retrospective from the beginning. Had you applied this Ind AS 116 from the beginning, you give the effect and prepare financial statements accordingly. Full retrospective approach. This is very, very ideal. Maybe some people can do it, but may not be possible. And you should take original rate only. Original rate means not the date of transition, the date on which the lease was there. On that day, you should know what is the borrowing rate, what is the implicit rates. So if the lease was taken 50 years back, not possible, because if it is operating lease, you will not go back, but still, the requirement, if it is 50 years back you should go. On that day, what is the rate of interest? From that day, start accounting and come till today. The simple word retrospective. But it is not possible. The word retrospective is very simple word, but impact is very, very high. Imagine the ICI comes up with a retrospective approach. Whoever pass the exams has to pass the exam again, retrospectively. What could happen? So retrospective, one simple word you can use, but impact is not so easy practically. So the standard provides modified retrospective approach. Modified retrospective means there also they give 2 alternatives. One alternative, you do everything and give the cumulative effect in the opening balance. You don't have to worry about the comparatives and all. Give the adjustment in the opening balance using the new discounting rate. Don't worry about the old discounting rates. Calculate from the beginning, retrospective approach, but don't change previous year numbers. Comparatives are not adjusted, and whatever happens, accumulate it in the opening balance. Current year you show it. So to that extent, they have given some relaxation. You don't have to go back from the beginning. It is enough if you give the cumulative effect in the opening balance, retained earnings, and previous year comparatives need not be changed. Alternative 2, prospective approach. Prospective approach means as on this date, how many remaining lease payments are there, and as on this date, what is the new rate of amount. At that rate, you account the asset as well as liability. That is, you treat this lease like a fresh lease as on the date of application of this standard. That is basically 1st April 2019. So prospective effect, we are not going to change anything whatever happened earlier. So these are the 3 alternatives, and again here also we use the new rates. Anything they can follow, of course you have to mention it in the notes to account, so whichever option you have chosen. So let us do a problem where under these 3 alternatives, if you have selected, what would be the impact in your books of accounts? Again, if it is financing lease, you don't worry, but only when it is operating lease, this will have an impact like this. So three alternatives are there. One is full retrospective, modified retrospective, and I would say last one as prospective. There is not really a retrospective. Let us do a problem considering this. Last one. A retailer, lessee, entered into 3-year lease of retail space beginning at 1st April 2017 with 3 annual lease payments of 2 lakh due on 31st of March 2018, 19, 20 respectively, payable at the end of every year. The retailer initially applies Ind AS 116 for the first time in the annual period beginning from 1st April 2019. This standard only came in 1st April 2019, so then only you can apply. Incremental borrowing rate on the date of initial application, that is on 1st April 2019, is 10%. And the commencement date of lease, that is 1st April 2017, 2 years back at the original time, was 12%. ROU asset is subject to straight line depreciation over lease term. Even if they don't tell, that's what we do. We don't do a WDV method and all. Assume that no practical expedients are elected. The lessee did not incur initial direct costs. And what is this practical expedient they're talking about? Low value item or short term lease. Because if you adopt, there is no accounting. Whatever the amount paid will go to P&L account. There were no lease incentives and there were no requirements for the lessee to dismantle and remove the underlying asset, restore the site on which it is located, and restore the underlying asset to the condition under the terms and condition on the lease. What would be the impact of lessee using the following transition approaches? Full retrospective, modified retrospective, alternative 1, alternative 2. That is full retrospective. Then modified retrospective means you go back and adjust in the opening balance and don't do any changes in the comparatives, but you can use the new rate. And alternative 2 means only prospective approach. That's the simplest part. Going forward, you see, don't look at back, only going forward, whatever the lease pending. So just to be aware, the lease was on 1/4/2017, and the date on which we are applying this standard is 1/4/2019. So basically you should remember 2 year completed and 1 year pending. That is the basic data that you need to keep it in mind. Full retrospective approach. Full retrospective approach. It is like whenever on the date of breakup, you will be like reimburse all the amount that I spent for you from the beginning. Whatever message exchange will be given back, those time the letter were given back. That retrospective approach. It's not like that. Okay, these days people follow a prospective approach. From today onward, let's be friends. You move yourself, I'll move myself. We don't worry about the past. But older days, it is full retrospective from the back end. Okay, but accounting, Ind AS says, in case of changes in policies, retrospective approach. Retrospective approach means we have to write down as on 1/4/2017. From that date till due date, you have to compute the amount of asset as well as liability. As on 1/4/17, lease liability. Year we can take specific dates or you can do year 1, 2, 3, but this is having some different dates like 31st March and 1st of April and all. Let us do years to be more specific. 31st March 18, 31st March 19 and 31st of March 2020. Lease payments. Okay, every year amount is same. Oh, 2 lakh. We could have used the annuity factor method. Okay, let us use annuity factor methods. Only 3 years are there. Okay, only 3 years will continue. Anyway, returns also only 3-year amount. But in exam you can approach annuity factor because amounts are same every year. Payments are 2 lakh, 2 lakh, 2 lakh. Discounting factor, let us continue our approach what we are taking of what are the discounting rate on the date of application, on the date of initial commencement, 12% on that date. Not on the date of 1/4/2019, on the initial application, on the initial commencement. Point 8930, 0.7970, 0.7120. I think the institute's material 1% does not prepare, different people prepares. So 1% take 2 decimal, 1% take 3 decimal, 1% take 4 decimal, 1% don't show calculation at all. But they expect student to learn everything. It looks like I don't have any connection with them in any manner, but somehow at least they couldn't be consistent in presentation. So multiplied by 2 lakh, 1,78,600, 1,59,400, 1,42,400, and total 4,80,400. And let us prepare this will be your lease liability as well as this will be your ROU assets. So what will be your lease liability at the end of every year? So year, then opening, interest at the rate of 12%, lease payments, closing. Year, to be more specific, let us write 2017-18. And then 2018-19, 2019-20. So balance is 4,80,400 interest at the rate of 12%. Okay, so what is the first year interest comes to 57 648. Lease payments are 2 lakh. So closing is 3,38,048. And this 3,30,048 becomes opening balance. On this interest at 12%, 40,566. Lease payment is same, and closing is 1,78,614. And that 1,78,614 we take it as opening balance. Lease payment is 2 lakh, and we'll make closing as 0, and balancing figure interest 21,386. 21,386. Okay, this is for liability. Let us also compute ROU asset at the end of every year. Everything is from retrospective effect. Again, let us have the 3 years. Let me be more clear. Opening balance, just like the way we did here, depreciation and closing balance. Opening balance is 4,80,400. Depreciation divided by 3, 1,60,133. Closing 3,20,267. Opening 3,20,267. Depreciation 1,60,133. Closing same 1,60,134. 1,60,134. Depreciation full 1,60,134. Closing balance should be 0. Okay. So in this situation, retrospective approach means this is what should happen, and we are on which years? 1/4/2019, but we have to account from the year 1/4/2019 beginning 2018. In fact, we go for 1/4/2017 itself for the purpose of accounting. But if at least for journal entry versus journal entry to be passed will happen on 1/4/2019, or to giving the effect on 1/4/2018 for comparison purpose. Okay, so if you give the effect for a comparison of previous year purpose, that is, we will prepare on 31st of March 2019. Comparative will be for 31st of March 2000. Okay, first year, what will be the year on which you are going to do? This is 1/4/2019. That means 31st March 2020 will be first year, first statement, and comparison means 31st of March 2019. But 19 is not sufficient. We go for 3 financial statements. That means we go for 31st of March 2018. That is 1st of April 2018 is when we have to give the retrospective effect in your books of accounts. Let us write down that. As on 1/4/2018, lease liability should be what is the amount on beginning of the year 18/19? 3,38,048. And ROU assets 3,20,267. So difference to be adjusted in retained earnings. $3,38,48 minus 3,20,267. How much? Some 17,000, 16,000? 781. It's a loss or it's a profit. Liability is 3,38,000, you're recognizing. Asset 3,20,000, you're recognizing. Liability recognized is more. So that means it is a loss. When you're de-recognizing liability more means that is a profit, but you're recognizing more liability, it's a loss. So retained earnings will reduce by this much. Or journal entry wise, if you want to pass, that will be ROU asset account to lease liability and debit again retained earnings. ROU asset, retained earnings, using a loss to lease liability as on 1/4/2018 is a journal entry to be passed for the purpose of accounting. Okay, so this is under full retrospective approach. Now let us do under modified approach, how things would be there, and that also under two alternatives. First alternative, that is actually modified retrospective approach. Alternative 1. So here also we go for retrospective calculation, but not at new rate. I mean, not at the original rate, but at the new rate. So we do calculation backwards. So we'll have the same format. So as on 1/4/2017, lease liability at new rate as on date today at 10%. So have 31st of March 2018 lease payment 2 lakh. The change will be with respect to discounting factor not at 12%, but instead it will be at 10%. Same calculation, but not at 12%, but 10%. Okay, what are the discounting factor you would get? Point 909. Again, if you take the 3 decimals, 0.826, 0.751. And discounted cash flows. What is the present value comes to? 4 lakh 97,200. Then you compute the same thing again, lease liability at the end of every year, starting from the new number what you got, 4,97,200. On that interest, I think it's 49,720. Interest not at 12%, interest at 10%. $49,720, lease payment same, 2 lakh. Closing balance 3,46,920. And that becomes opening balance, and interest is on that 10%, 34,692. So 3,46,920 plus 34,692 minus 2 lakh, the closing balance is 1,81,612. And this number becomes the opening balance for next year. And interest at 10%, we don't do balancing figure, 18,388. closing 0. Okay, just like earlier, if you prepare ROU of the asset at the end of every year, opening, depreciation, closing, opening amount 4,97,200, depreciation divided by 3, 1,65,733, and closing balance 3,31,467, and that becomes opening 3,31,467. Depreciation for next year same, 1,65,733, 1,65,734, 1,65,734, 1,65,734. Zero at the end. Okay, so in the previous case also we did the same thing. Changes is only the rate of interest. Apart from that, every process is same. But one major change is now going forward, which is the date on which we accounted earlier, 1/4/2018. But that is going to change here because we don't do retrospective from the beginning. We do cumulative changes in the opening balance. Therefore, the effect is given on 1/4/2019. So same thing we are going to do now, but not on 1/4/2018, but instead 1/4/2019. So as on 1/4/2019, under the new calculation, what is the lease liability you got? One lakh 81,612. And ROU assets 1,65,734. And difference 15,878. Okay, again, is a loss or a profit? I think again liability is more. Again, it is a loss. So modified approach is also done. Last one, and that is alternative approach to modified retrospective approach, but alternative 2. And that is very simple. That is, you compute as on 1/4/2019, you consider only lease liability for remaining payments. and remaining payments is only one remaining payment, 31st March 2020, only one payment. So lease payments 2 lakh. Discounting factor also will be at new amount, new rate. Discounting factor at 10%. So 0.909. So discounted cash flow 1 lakh 81,800. So lease liability as on 1/4/2019, 1,81,800, and ROU assets as on 1/4/2019, 1,81,800. As simple as you can get. Only for the remaining, you treat this like a new lease as on this date. Okay, so just for comparison purpose, let us do one more spot. Under 3 approaches for different years, how the presentation will be. I mean, you will be preparing only for the year 2019-20, but comparatives will change according to the 3 methods we are going to do. Let us do it. Again, this is not required exam, only for our understanding. So comparison of all 3 alternatives in financial statement of 2019-20. First we'll do P&L account, then we do balance sheet. Okay, what are the elements that will come in P&L account? We have to consider interest, depreciation. What about that adjustment? Retained earnings will not come in P&L account. That is in opening balance, or that reserves and surplus. Only interest and depreciation. Okay, that is fine. What are the columns we are going to have? We will have alternative 1, alternative 2, alternative 3. Under alternative 1, 31st March 2019, 18. And then alternative 2, 31st of March 19. 18 I don't write. We can write because too many things here. The thing is, even if you write, we don't show any change, because in the modified retrospective approach, the comparatives are not changed. Therefore, that is the reason. So alternative 1, where we will show 31st of March 2020, 31st of March 2019, 31st of March 2018. Or to be specific, let's say not 31st March, 1/4/2018, because the standard uses beginning of the period, 31st March only, but let us write 1st of April for our reference. But alternative 2 will be only 31st of March 2020, because previous alternative we don't change, comparative we don't change. And alternative 3, that is modified approach, also will be only for 2020, because comparative will be there but we don't show any amounts, so we don't have to show it here. Okay, let's come to interest. What are the interest amount that we show under alternative 1 for 3 years? We have to show these 3 years amounts. This is the first one, no? Interest, this number. So just tell me the amounts, how much you get. 49, 57, 648. First one. Sorry, first year, no, sorry, yeah. This is the last year. First, I mean last year there in the thing, 21, 386. 21, 386. And 31st March 2019, 40, 566. Depreciation, I think same every year. What was the amounts? 160, 133. 160, 133. 160, 133. Okay. Alternative 2, when we come to it, we provide only for 31st March 2020 and interest only for that year, last year. The schedule last amount 18,388. And depreciation only for the last year 1,65,734. And alternative 3, the remaining amount actually. Last alternative we had 1,81,800. So on that minus 2 lakh, because remaining is balancing figure last year. 2 lakh minus 1,81,800. 18,200. And depreciation 1 lakh entire amount 81,200. 800. 1,81,800. Entire amount whatever recognized will become depreciation. Okay, this is P&L. Now we'll come to balance sheet. So how much your ROU assets will be on these dates, and how much will be your lease liability on these dates. What are the balance amounts of ROU assets in alternative 1? As on date 0, nothing is there. One lakh 61,000. 1,65,000. 31st March 2019. 1,65,000, no? Okay, 1 lakh. Correct. 1,60,000, 134. Okay. And 1/4/2018. 320,267. Okay, lease liability, I think first is 0 on 31st March 19, 178,614. And first year 31st March 18, 338,048. 338,048. Alternative 2, actually 31st March 2020 will not be there, only for his alternative 2 1/4/2010 will be there, because also 1/4/2019 will be there. Opening balance you will make a change only for this second alternative. So only for that let me write down. For second alternative 31st March 2020 will be 0, but 31st March 2019 will be there. Not 31st March, basically opening balance. That opening balance will make a change. Opening balance would have been changed. That amount of adjustment also will be did. Asset is 165,734. 165,734. And let's say more specific, this is actually on 1/4/2019. The comparative you may not show in the balance sheet, just for your reference I'm writing this. And lease liability 181,612. And alternative 3 will be 0 only. That will not be there anyways. Okay, so this is the transition approach under 3 methods. So problems are over, then few small formalities that we have to look at the differences in different standards. Quickly let us go through it. Difference between Ind AS 17, Ind AS 116, we'll glance through it, we don't have to go in detail. The definition of Ind AS 17 was right to use the asset, but Ind AS 116 is right to direct the use, right to control the use, because we talked about who will direct, the supplier or the customer, depending on whether who designs it, who determines the output, who has the substantial benefits, all those things we had. Short-term lease exemption, that was not there under Ind AS 17. Low value exemption, again not there under Ind AS 17. Lease classification of operating lease, financing lease will not come under Ind AS 116, that was there under Ind AS 17, that is taken out. Lease payments, Ind AS 17 talked about If you remember, it recognized that present value of lease payments or fair value, whichever is lower, was accounted, and we know it. In the 116 we accounted for a different method, no, whichever is lower method. Reassessment of lease liability, in day 17 there was no discussion of reassessment at all. We have done it, including modification. Income from operating lease, in day 17 says that if it is some exemptions are given. If it is not a straight lining because it's in connection with inflation, you need not go for straight line method to that extent and all. No such questions in Ind AS 116. In day 17, lease modification to operating lease, again nothing is covered. Modification and this reassessment of liability we have discussed, two separate points. Sometimes we accounted similarly, sometimes we took the difference to P&L account when there is decrease in scope or decrease in lease term. Proportionately we have taken, those things are not there in day 17. Lease modification that, okay, this is what we just discussed. Lease modification that do not results in separate leases. And again, we also there had one more thing where if it's lease modification resulting in new lease, you account it separately. That classification of separate lease and not separate lease is not there under in day 17. Presentation, in day 17 don't specifically covers it. They say follow in days 1, but in days 116 tells you whether you showed the things together or separately in terms of the presentation. P&L account, in day 17 operating lease they take it as expense, whereas now we have to break it down into interest element and depreciation element. Cash flow statement, in days 116 we discussed everything is financing activities, whereas in day 17 they said you can follow, you will be mostly showing it in operating activities because operating lease and all will come in operating activities, whereas in days 116 we'll break it down into interest and depreciation, so it will come in financing activities. Disclosures, they have so many disclosures in Ind AS 116 we have not discussed because from exam point of view it is not relevant, but if you want, study material has it. Detailed theory, details of leases, what kind of lease, classify the lease, how many years pending, nature of the lease, what is the type of product. So you have to give so much of qualitative disclosures also. Standard has it, your study material has it, you can read through it if you want. Examination, I don't think they will ask. Sale and lease back, in days 116, they say we had discussed whether it amounts to control under Ind AS 115 or not, and then sale value more than fair value, sale value less than fair value, we discuss different situations. But Ind AS 17 accounted depending on whether the lease is which has come back is operating lease or financing lease. Separate discussion was there, that is completely eliminated. Sale and lease back accounting by lessee, excess of sale proceeds over carrying amount were deferred. The profit is recognized but not to P&L account but deferred over a period of lease term. Here accounting part is recognized on proportionate basis. The carrying amount itself is not reduced, so no question of any deferring the profit. And when it is not at fair value, again here also the excess amount is deferred, but here we take it as the additional financing element, or you take it as the other way around, considered as lease prepayment when it is not at fair value. This is Ind AS 17 and Ind AS 116. Now AS 19, Ind AS 116, again most of them are very similar between AS 17 and Ind AS, Ind AS 17 and AS 19, but small points were there because AS 19 did not AS 19 did excluded land. When we talked about AS 19 at IPC level, we said land is outside the scope of AS 19, no such exclusions. Concept of modifications not covered. Sale and lease back, what we just discussed. Treatment of initial direct costs, that point was not there in AS 19. They said you just have to consider it. I mean, they said we can, they're basically not considered. We used to adjust in place rate, but in AS 116 gives the guidelines. Presentation, again detailed guidelines in 116, AS 19 is not so much. So basically AS 19 in days 116 is very similar to AS in day 17 and in days 116. Those differences are almost same. Last one small, this point again may be asked, only 2 points are there, but still you need to be aware of it. That is carve out, basically simple point only. In days 116 when you are measuring the assets, you can, I mean, when they say Ind AS 116, you have to measure ROU asset, and ROU asset has to be depreciated over remaining useful life. Either you can follow cost model or you can follow revaluation model under Ind AS 16. But if the property was a lease property,
I mean, if it's not a lease property, if it is given to somebody else on lease, sublease kind of thing, and building, then it will come under Ind AS 40, where you follow investment property. But investment property says you can't follow fair value model, you can only follow cost model. But IFRS don't allow, I mean, IFRS says you can either follow cost model or you can follow fair value model. So that whatever the carve out was there in Ind AS 40 continues to be carved out under this standard also, because Ind AS 116 says if it is investment property, you have to follow only cost model. IFRS allows both cost or fair value model. Then related to Ind AS 116 on this interest portion, it has to be under financing activities. But this IFRS 16 gives you one alternative. You can show either operating or financing activities. Even this interest, you can show it as financing activities because it is the nature of regular business. They treat like a bank overdraft for short-term purpose, not a financing part. So IFRS 16 again allows, may require you to show it as per International Accounting Standard 7 cash flow statement as operating activity instead of financing activity for interest element. So those two are the carve outs, two small points, which again I'm not sure whether I'll ask, but you be ready with that. So that is Ind AS 116. As I told at the beginning, this will definitely come in May 20 exam, if not November 20, if not May 21. So many exams are there, it will keep on coming. That Ind AS 115 and 116, those are having more potential. And not only here, for exam purpose, you would not have come across much of Ind AS in your practical life, because mostly you would be talking about AS when you prepare balance sheets. But when you go to interviews, they will specifically ask Ind AS. There you can't tell I left it for choice in exam, in our office it was not there. They will also leave you for choice. So you need to be at least be ready for attending interview later, and don't expect yourself to read these things after passing the examination and before interview. That will never happen, because when examination pressure is there, there is a mandate to read, then only you don't read. For interview and all, you don't read. You will be like this interview, no, now some other interview is there. For the exam, you did not have the choice. 6 months was the cost. That only you have given up means interview and all you don't take seriously. So if you learn now, at least the basics, later you will have an opportunity to revise it. So keeping your future in mind, again these standards are important. Again, why it is important? Because when you go for interview for companies, you will not go for small companies interviews. You will go for big companies interview, and big companies will not apply AS. You want big salary, for a small AS, don't apply. You want big salary means you want to apply Ind AS only. Those should match. So you have to prepare. This Ind AS 115 and 116 is going to be that basis for your interview preparation, and examination also is important. Okay, so that is your Ind AS 116. What we have left with, first time adoption in the last standard we cover now. That is the right approach, because only after knowing everything, or at least assuming that you have learnt everything, we can adopt Ind AS 101. Otherwise, starting only you will not be able to know it. And for some people, ending also may not make difference, but at least we are trying to do the logical structure. And then we have small standard, a small chapter, not standard, integrated reporting, financial analysis, and corporate social responsibility. That will take after the break. So 3:45 now. We'll take a break of 15 minutes. 4 o'clock we'll meet. 15 minutes.